Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make this chunky headband ear warmers that I made on my trip to the South Island. Let's start. To make this headband you will need some chunky yarn and a corresponding size hook. So for me I'm using my 6mm hook. You will also need scissors and a needle to weave in your ends. To begin, we're going to start with a slip knot. And we're going to start chaining by wrapping our yarn around our hook and bringing it through the loop that is on our hook. And we're going to be chaining 12 and an extra 2, so we're going to be doing a total of 14 chains. So here I've done my 12 chains, and now I'm going to do an extra 2, which is going to be our turning chains. And now we're going to begin by putting a half double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook, just like so. And then you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook and pull it through the 3 loops that are on your hook. And then you're going to do the same into the next chain, and you're going to do this all the way to the end so that you have a total of 12 half double crochets. So I've completed my 12 half double crochets. This is what it should look like. And now what we're going to do after every row is chain 2, and this is going to be our turning chains. So chain 2, and then we're going to turn our work around. So we're going to begin row 2, and we're going to be working half double crochets in the back loop only. So you're going to skip those 2 chains that you made, and instead of doing a regular half double crochet like this, we're going to be going into the back of that V. So in the back loop of our stitch, we're going to be working a half double crochet. So you're going to be doing 12 half double crochets in total in the back loop until you get to the end of the row. So again, you're going to go into the back loop of that V and work a regular half double crochet. So do that until you get to the end, and you have a total of 12 half double crochets in the back loop. So I've now completed my 12 half double crochets in the back loop only, and what you want to do is just go back and make sure that you have 12 stitches. So just go back and count, and you can count the little V's, and we're going to chain 2 and turn our work around, and we're doing that every row. So we're going to be doing the same thing by working half double crochets in the back loop only by doing 12 stitches, and we're doing this for a total of 27 rows. You can do more or less depending how big your yarn and your hook is, but basically from now on we're going to be working a long rectangle of half double crochets in the back loop only. And what I like to do is just go back and count my stitches just to make sure that I've got 12 stitches every row, because it is easy to add a stitch or to accidentally skip a stitch. So yeah, we're just going to be doing half double crochets in the back loop only from now onwards, and I will meet you back once I have some length. So here I've completed 27 rows, and I just measure by putting it on top of my head and making sure it goes pretty much from ear to ear. So now we're going to be working decreases. So we're going to chain 2 like normal, but what we're going to be doing, instead of working our first regular stitch, we're going to be doing a decrease. So the first 2 stitches, we're going to join them. So go into the first stitch, but before completing your stitch, you're going to wrap your yarn around and go into the next back loop. Then you're going to wrap your yarn around and go through all 5 loops on your hook, and that is a decrease. And then you're going to work regular half double crochets for 8 stitches, and then once you get to the last 2 stitches, we're going to do another decrease. So this row, we're going to have a total of 10 stitches. So here I'm at my last 2 stitches and I'm going to work a decrease. So I'm going to put my yarn through that back loop, wrap around and go through the last stitch, wrap my yarn around, and then I'm going to go through all of the 5 loops on my hook, and that is going to make a decrease. And then I'm going to chain 2 like we usually do and turn my work. So you just want to make sure that you now have 10 half double crochets in this row. So for our next row, we're going to do the same thing by working a decrease with the first 2 stitches in the back loop only. And in this row, we're going to end up having 8 stitches. So work a decrease and then do 6 regular half double crochets in the back loop only. And once you get to your last 2 stitches, you're going to work another decrease. And then just go back and count and make sure that you have a total of 8 stitches in this row. Now we're going to chain 2 and turn our work around. And in this next row, we're going to be working a decrease, 4 half double crochets and a decrease, so that we have a total of 6 stitches. So here I'm working my decrease, and again, we're always working in the back loop only with our half double crochets. And now I'm going to do my 4 regular half double crochets, and once I'm at the last 2 stitches, I'm going to make a decrease. And just make sure again that you have 6 total half double crochets. Now chain 2 and turn your work, and in this row we're going to be working 1 decrease, 2 half double crochets and a decrease, so that we have a total of 4 half double crochets. And this is our last row of decreases, so go ahead and make your decrease, your 2 half double crochets and your decrease. Once you get to the end, chain 2 and turn your work. So now we have made all the decreases for 1/2 of our headband. This is what it should look like. And for the next 2 rows, we're just going to be working regular half double crochets in the back loop only. So I'm going to be doing 4 half double crochets. So 1 half double crochet in each stitch in the back loop only, chain 2, turn, and we're doing this for 2 rows. So this is the first row. And then chain 2, turn your work, and do the same thing by working a total of 4 half double crochets in the back loop only. So this is what it should be looking like. And now what we're going to be doing is working pretty much the opposite by making increases. So we're going to start with our regular chain 2. And now what we're going to do is work 2 half double crochets in the back loop only on the first and the last stitches instead of decreases. So I'm going to work another half double crochet in that same stitch. And then I'm going to work 2 regular half double crochets. And then once I get to the last stitch, I'm going to work 2 half double crochets in the back loop. So we're going to be going up. So now we have a total of 6 stitches instead of 4. So chain 2, turn your work, and then again just go back and count to make sure that you have a total of 6 stitches. And in this row we're going to be starting with an increase in the back loop only. So again, that's 2 half double crochets in that same stitch. And then in the last stitch we're going to be working an increase. So for this row we're going to have a total of 8 half double crochets. Chain 2 and turn your work, and then in this next row we're going to be doing an increase, 6 half double crochets and an increase, so that we have a total of 10 stitches. So go ahead and make your increase in the first stitch. I'm at my last stitch, so I'm going to be working an increase, and I'm going to put 2 half double crochets in that back loop, and then I'm going to chain 2 and turn my work. So this is what it should be looking like now, and we're going to be working one last row with increases so we can get back to our 12 stitch width. So we're going to work here a increase, 8 half double crochets and an increase, so that we have a total of 12 stitches. And just go back and make sure that you have 12 stitches once you've finished this row. Once you've made your increase, you're going to chain only 1, because now we've pretty much finished our headband. So this is what it should look like. This part here is where it's going to go at the back of our heads. So now what we need to do is just slip stitch the sides together, and then the headband will be done pretty much. So put your hook back inside your loop, and we're going to slip stitch by putting our hook through the back loop of our first stitch and the back loop of the other row to attach them together. So here I have my hook in the back loop of my first stitch, and now I'm going to put it in the back loop of the other side of the headband, and I'm going to pull through all of the loops that are on my hook to make a slip stitch. And I'm going to do that for all of the stitches, for all 12, so that I have a total of 12 slip stitches. So just make sure that you go through the same stitch on each side. So here I'm going in the back loop, and then I'm finding the back loop of the other side, and I'm going through there just like that, and then I'm going to pull my yarn through and through that loop again. And I'm going to do that all the way to the end so that I have a total of 12 slip stitches. What I like to do once I've done all 12 slip stitches is go through that chain on each side and do one last slip stitch, and this is just going to make our headband have no seam pretty much, so that when you wear it you do not see where we slip stitched. And then we're going to chain one and we're going to cut our yarn so that we have enough length to weave in our end. And now I'm just going to take both of my ends and weave it in to finish our headband. I don't really know how to explain how I weave it in, so hopefully you can see by the way I do it how I like to weave my ends. But basically just weave in your ends however you like and then cut the excess and your headband will be done. What I'm doing here on this other side is just weaving in the sides together like this. Hopefully you can see what I mean, and again this is just going to make it more straight and seamless, and then I'm going to continue doing my regular weave-in. Our headband is now finished. So when you turn your headband inside out, you're not going to see we slip stitched, which is great. And the skinny part is going to go at the back of your head, so you can put your hair over or your ponytail, whatever you want. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you make lots of these. Let me know in the comments what color you make yours. I always love seeing what colors you make. And tag me on Instagram. I would love to see your versions.